Welcome back to another video, guys. Today we have a very special S-Works Venge, and it's a very funky color lah. Someone actually asked a very cool, someone pointed out the color in my Instagram Q&A, which will come a bit later. Brian, thanks for letting me film your bike. I actually approached you on Instagram, and thank you so much for responding to my message request. Actually, this bike popped up on my Instagram homepage so many times, and I was like, wow, I got to get this bike on my channel. Over to you.
Hi everyone, my name is Bryant, and this is my custom painted S-Works Venge. This color is not the usual one that you can get off the market, and I got it specially custom painted at Paint Extreme. The reason why I did it was because I didn't really like any of the available colorways in the market. Like, I mean, at that point in time, there was just the usual black color, there was the white, and then there was the full red, and that was largely about it. So I didn't think any of those stand out for me. And to be honest, if you realize, I mean, if you find the colors and the paintwork a little, familiar, you may recall this was the very first release of the 2020 Canyon Aeroad. So I followed that paint scheme, but not to the T. So I did some little modifications here and there. So largely, well, I mean, you can see that the top tube is, I did it in matte black, and then I contrasted it with champagne gold that was in a gloss finish. Yeah, so I actually like the different textures over there. But what I did something different was, on the insides of the fork and also insides of the chainstay and the seat stay, I actually made it matte black, so that the gold and has some contrast against the black. Some of the special things on this bike that I custom did for myself was I requested for the three stripes to be over here. These are not the Adidas 3 stripes, but actually Peter Sagan has them on his bike because it represents the 3 championships that he won. But for me, obviously, I didn't win any championships, so these 3 lines actually represents the 3 Venges that I own so far. So prior to this, I was riding the Venge VS for about close to 4 years, and then prior to that, I was riding the first generation Venge for about 3 years odd. So, I mean, this being my third Venge, and I wanted to, kind of commemorate this. So these are where the 3 stripes come in, and I did it on both sides. And I really like how the new SL7 has that tarmac word on the back of the seat post. So, I wanted something special for my Venge too, and I think the one that comes for the Venge is on the seat, on the top tip itself. But I didn't need to know that I'm riding the Venge, right? So I don't want to see it for myself. I wanted people who was riding behind me to know that this is a Venge. So I placed it behind me, yeah. Just simply for vanity purposes. Yeah, and then something else I did differently was right at the top over there, just behind my stem, I have the Specialized logo in glossy champagne gold, and I thought that was quite a nice touch that stands out against the matte black finish. I was looking out for the Venge for quite some time, and I didn't really want to get it firsthand because the price was a little bit of a turn off. So what I did was I, stayed on Carousel like what most people would do, and I found a pretty nice offer for a used frame. So this original frame was in that matte raw black finish with the rainbow foil stickers. Yeah, so when I got that, straight away, because I got it at quite a good price, so I thought I could invest some other my money to custom made it. That's why I decided to get it custom painted. Okay, so the paint job below 1,000, it was I think in the range of 850 around there. Yeah, but from what I understand, the more colors that you go for, the higher the price would be. And I think the whole process took me about close to 2 months waiting time. So this was done by Eric at Paint Extreme, and from what I understand, he's the guy to go to for the paint jobs. Yeah, and I think he did a really good job. When I had this idea in mind, I was very particular about what comes where. So I actually did up like a one slider PowerPoint deck. Yeah, I had arrows and lines telling Eric what should go and so on. So I was pretty detailed in my brief to him. So when I went down to the store, we had a discussion. I mean, I discussed with him over WhatsApp first, and then when I went down to the store, I walked him through what I wanted in my mind, and and he did that like a very quick mock-up on his computer. I mean, nothing very fancy, but he just placed the logos where I wanted it to be, and he resized certain things and all that. Yeah, so I kind of could already imagine how my bike would look like. Yeah, there wasn't any elaborate sketches or or 3D modeling or whatsoever, because I already had that brief, so I was quite good with that. Yeah.
So these colors are actually from PowerPoint?
Well, the colors, I selected them from a catalog that he had. Yeah, it was pretty tricky because, what you see online and on photos versus what you see, under real light on a book is pretty hard to match. So there were many colors that was very close to the champagne gold that I wanted, but I'm quite glad that I landed on this one. Yeah, which I think is quite a close match to the original color. I'm standing at 172 cm. This is a size 52. I think some people will probably think that I might be better fitted to a 49, but I think I have pretty long inseam for my height. So I've been riding a 52 for the past 3 Venges or so. Yeah, so this is quite a good fit. Okay, so my bike is running on Ultegra Di2. The only reason I didn't go for Dura Ace was because of the cost. And building a bike in these times where stocks are low, there are logistical problems all over the world. It was pretty hard to land this set, and I got it off Merlin Cycles. I think it was one of the last few pieces available online. So I got it and I incurred GST at my doorstep. So all in all, this group set came out to be about 3,000. Pretty hefty, I find, for Ultegra Di2. But I'm still glad that I managed to get it. Yeah, the other thing that I was very happy to source for was the Aerofly 2 handlebars. This was something that is I understand it's really out of stock and you couldn't get it anywhere unless you buy a brand new bike. Yeah, so I managed to get my hands on one. This is a 40 cm handlebar. On the Venge Fires, previously I was riding a 42 and I felt that was a bit wide for me, so 40 was really comfortable. Beyond that, I'm also running the Enve SES 5.6. I think this is a really good depth for manual riding in Singapore, not too shallow and not too deep. Pretty good all-rounder depth. I mean, when I got the wheels, I could choose from several different hubs, and these are the Enve alloy hubs, which is the most basic one, but I think they're pretty okay. So when I got the wheels, right, I already had these tires on standby, so I haven't gotten the GP5 case then. I actually have a pair of GP5 case and some latex tubes on standby at home, but I'm so lazy to change them out. So my intention is just to run them out, and once they get worn, and then I'll change them. But I've heard really good things about them, and I'm expecting some differences when I actually put them on.
What is the weight?
Oh, I didn't really weigh them, but back at the bike store when the mechanic weighed it, I recall it was about 7.4.
You sure?
I think with everything on now, probably 0.5 odd. I have no idea, man.
Okay.
Yeah, but my previous Venge Fires was heavy. I was told it was 8.3, but I didn't measure that at all to verify. But that number kind of haunted me every time. And my friends spoke fun of me for buying such a heavy bike. Well, one of the biggest changes that I felt when I moved from the Venge Fires to this was obviously the weight savings. Yeah, because the Venge Fires was really heavy. It was a very heavy frame set, and this one, I could feel the weight difference. So I think on my very first ride, going up one of my favorite segments on SBV, comparing my usual power output. I have no numbers to put here, but given my usual regular output of power and speed, but I could feel that I was actually going faster and I wasn't as tired. I felt like I could go further and harder, with the usual energy that I give out. So I could really feel the difference comparing to the old bike. Yeah, and definitely in terms of acceleration, this is faster than the Venge Fires lah. Yeah, I mean, because the wheels are probably lighter and the frame is lighter and so on. The last I counted, it was below 13,000.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably save a lot more if I didn't go for the fancy wheels if I didn't do the custom pin job. I could have gotten it much lower. Yeah.
Happy with the bike?
Yeah, I am. I actually think the only two things that I could probably upgrade is the group set, which I probably won't, because I don't think I will feel a difference between the Ultegra and the Dura Ace. But I do feel that a pair of better wheels in the market could probably be the Rovo Rapides. Yeah, and I understand the wheels to be at least 100 grams lighter. Yeah, so Yeah, and one more thing about the Enves that I somehow don't really like, and I didn't know beforehand was, over time when you use the wheels, as a sign of wear and tear, you get all these white spots and white lines. So I understand these to be a natural part of the curing process when the wheels mature or over age. So these are like the natural powder that goes into the resin of the mold, something along those lines. So I actually verified that with Enve themselves. So yeah, so aesthetically they don't look so nice, but I understand they don't affect any performance at all. Yeah, but I mean, if you're really into aesthetics and you want to maintain the look of your bike, I would think maybe the Rovos are better. Well, if you notice, I also had Dura Ace, these rotors over there. The reason why I didn't pair it with the full Ultegra Groupset was simply because I like the look of the Dura Ace ones. I find the black and the silver has a very nice contrast to it, and I find the rotors looks like some ninja blades. Yeah, and I thought, the black would go very well with the rest of the black on my bike. And I also like my accessories to be very minimalist and very sleek, very clean. So many people have asked me, how do I mount my front light? As you can see, I don't have like a usual typical GoPro or Garmin mount. What I did was I DIY actually a Velcro strip, yeah, with the Infini lava light that I have. Because the Infini lava light comes with a clip underneath, what I did was I just cut a short Velcro strip and I loop it over the hook onto the Garmin mount, and that gives me a very clean aero finish look.
And it holds the light, it doesn't drop.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I have it on for quite a few months now, and so far so good.
I think you need to patent that design.
It's just some hack that I thought of one fine day. Yeah, and then for the rear lights, you might not notice I have two over here. I used to only have one, but now because I get to work from home, I cycle more and I get to do a weekday morning ride. But as you know, weekday traffic is pretty hectic once it crosses into the 7 a.m. period. So I thought that maybe having an additional light would give me a bit more peace of mind and get me a bit more visible on the road. These are actually very cheap lights, but they work. So I got these off Lazada, if I remember. It's below $5, but it's very aero, and it's very sleek, and it flashes against my with my seat tube. And then these are Rockbros lights, yeah, which I got from Shopee, and they are just like $8. Yeah, I'm using the Specialized Power header. So previously I was using the Specialized Toupee, and that I used that for my two previous Venges for quite some time. But the issue with that was somehow I always experienced the shell to be cracked after maybe 6 months or so. But once I changed to this power header, I mean the whole integrity of it seems to be stronger. The whole structure seems to be more solid, and it's been serving me quite well.
First of all, I have to say this bike is an exact replica of my own bike, man. Like the Enve wheels, the size of the frame, the saddle, everything except the handlebar. I'm running an Enve bars. Even the Groupset and even up to the rotors, man. I'm also running Dura Ace rotors because I want to deceive people when they see my bike and that black ninja rotors. They think it's a Dura Ace, but actually it's not. It's just an Ultegra. Before I go on to the Instagram Q&A, I've got a couple of questions. Your stem is slammed. Actually, I really like bikes that are slammed. It makes the bike super pro. Because you mentioned that you didn't buy this bike new, right? So when you bought the bike, was it already slammed or you cut it all the way down?
When I first got the bike, there was some excess on the fork and the stereo tube. But because I slammed the stem for my previous two Venges also, so I told the mechanic, just chop it off. I mean, it was a risk because the geometry isn't exactly the same as the previous bike, and I could risk not being very comfortable, but I was just taking a chance I'm still not that old, and I think I have some flexibility in my back. But so far so good. Yeah, I'm glad that I managed to fit well.
With the slam position, do you regret it and any back pains or back issues?
No, I haven't experienced any back pain or back issues with the slam stem. I'm actually quite glad that I did it because this is an Aeroad bike, and a slam stem would really optimize the performance of the bike. So I wouldn't really fancy a high stack. So I really like the clean look, and you can tell that I'm really into aesthetics. So I just chopped it.
I get this question a lot among my friends. Why did I choose an Enve wheel set? And I don't have an answer. My simple answer was because it looked very exotic, and not many people have Enves, but you pay an extremely premium price for it. So my question to you is, why do you choose Enves?
Well, chose Enve because among my friends, these are known as the god of wheels, right? Not just for the price point or for the looks of it, but I think Enve itself, they have come a long way, and I think the wheels are proven to help you perform. So comparing this pair of Enves with the previous one that I had which was the Rover CLX 664, I would say performance-wise is very, very similar. I really love the pair of Rovers that I had, and now that I'm on these Enves, I have no regrets whatsoever. Just that maybe on the aesthetics part of it, I don't really fancy those blemishes over there. But in terms of rolling performance, in terms of acceleration, I think they are pretty awesome.
Last question from me, since it's the exact replica of my bike. I don't know if you copied me or I copied you about this bike. I find this bike climbing a little tough. Like, before I owned this bike, I was riding the SL6. I would enjoy going to Sentosa and Faber. Now I got this bike, I'm just going TMCI every day because I cannot climb anymore.
That's pretty sad to hear, but for me, I'm the opposite, because the Venge VS I had was heavy. So this was pretty much lighter, and for me, climbing is, I would say, maybe a tad easier. So I don't have any issues with climbing, except that if I'm chasing my very fast friends and they make me, pant like a dog. But otherwise, on this bike, okay, because I haven't ridden any tarmac, so I don't really have a climbing bike to compare with. But if I were to compare with the previous bikes that I had, I think this is pretty up there, and I'm happy with how it's doing.
I want to apologize for the background noise because we're actually next to an airport. So if you hear planes flying, so please excuse me. Instagram Q&A is the interesting segment, man. You guys want to ask questions, follow me on Instagram and you get to roast and grill my interviewees. So, okay, let me pull up the questions. You ready? How often do you charge your Di2? Does the chain drop when you are shifting the chainring?
Let me answer the easier one first. My chain hasn't dropped before. Yeah. And to be honest, I only changed my chainring once. That's when I leave the house and I move out of my car park and change it to the big chainring. But otherwise, during the ride, I actually hardly change the small chainring. I mean, unless of course we are talking about climbs like Sesoi and Vigilante Drive. But otherwise, mostly on the roads, I don't really change my chainring, so it hasn't really dropped yet. And I hope it won't. As for how often I charge the Di2, well, I'm quite a Di2 newbie, so I understand that. As with all electronical items, you don't run it down when it's completely flat. So I will charge it. The last time I did it was when it was 20%.
Why are you not on an OSPW?
I heard OSPWs. I haven't heard anyone who said that they actually bring significant performance differences. It's very much for the look of it. But for me, if I were to have to fork out that price just to get that look, and it doesn't really help in my riding, then maybe not. Yeah, so I haven't gone there yet. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've seen replicas of it that looks pretty good, but I hear that they don't match up to how it's supposed to be, work.
Clearly, you haven't been watching my videos, man. A lot of guys are on OSPW and they say they save watts, but I disagree and I agree with you. Well, I feel very offended by this question. Why use Ultegra on such a top-end bike? Because I'm also running Ultegra.
Cost savings, bro. So, during this time when I got the Ultegra, it's already 3,000, and if I were to go Dura Ace, you would fetch me another 1k, it would be 4,000 odd. Yeah, I mean, I'm just largely a weekend rider. I don't compete in any races, or I don't particularly do very much in hardcore training. I'm very happy with how the Ultegra is really doing for me, so I don't see the need to go Dura Ace.
This will be a very biased interview because we own the same bike, so I'm always on your side, man. Okay, good question. How do you feel when Specialized discontinued the Venge product line? To be honest, I feel 20% richer, man.
Well, when I heard that the Venge was going to be discontinued, I was really happy, knowing that this is going to become a rare piece. Price of this bike will probably go up. Since you can't find it new in the market anymore. I didn't feel like this was going to be outdated, or the bike technology is going to disadvantage me in some way. but I actually see it in a more positive light. I guess because maybe I'm biased, I really bought the bike, so I wanted to not have any regrets about it.
Can you give us some tips to beating all your 2019 Strava segment timings?
Wow, tips to beat your Strava timings.
Your Strava timings?
My Strava timings. Oh, for people to beat my Strava timings, that's pretty hard, man. You guys gotta work. no, just kidding.
Okay, wait, where are your Strava segments? I don't know, I don't follow your Strava.
My Strava segments. Okay, I'm not a premium subscriber of Strava, so I don't look into the leaderboard so much. But my favorite segments are SPV, South Buona Vista Road, Nicole Highway, some portions of the West Coast Highway, maybe Jalan Bahar. I guess the usual long stretches. Yeah. And to beat my Strava timings, well, just hop on the fast train, ask your friend to lead out for you, and then you power to the finish. Yeah, okay. All the best, guys.
You must be a very strong rider. The fact that you are riding on all these segments which are ridden by everyone, man. Like you're beating the majority of the cycling population here. Wanted to roast, but it's too beautiful. What is your comment to that?
Yeah. I get it a lot. So, well, let me roast myself then. Because I tend to take photos of my bike and put it on Instagram. Some people, I've seen some comments saying that, oh, isn't that a canyon? Why is this guy like spray painting airstrokes on the canyon? But come on, guys. I made my dream happen because I really like the paint work. When I first saw the Canyon Aeroad, I thought that was a really exquisite and very luxury premium finish on a bike. You know, it's not like those chrome gold that is very glaring or very. It has a very tasteful touch, I find, and I guess compared with the black, it has a very nice contrast over it. So when I saw that look, it really caught me, and I almost contemplated buying that Aeroad, but I'm kind of glad I didn't because there were issues with the bike, you know, and also because it was out of stock. Yeah, so well, I take those comments as jealousy. They probably can't get it, you know, and they said that it's a copy, but well, it is a copy to an extent. I would say it's an inspiration, not really a copy, but you know, obviously you can see there are some parts that I purposely made it different so that it's not like a exact replica of it.
So what's the stem length and the reason behind this whole setup? Okay,
so on the setup of the bike, I have to clarify that I haven't done any bike fitting at all. Well, I didn't have any pains or any issues with the bike that I rode so far, so I didn't feel the need to really go to a bike fitter. So everything you see here is actually DIY. Every time when I get a new bike, I would DIY the fit a little bit. I would shift the saddle forward, backward, higher, lower. Over the years, I kind of know what kind of setup suits me. As for the stem length, I got a 120 with the frame. Yeah, when I bought this bike. But I understand the stock one comes in 90mm. But comparing to the previous bikes that I had, I know 90mm was a little bit too short, and 120 is probably too long. I will probably be a bit overstretched on that. So I managed to trade with someone for 100mm, and I think it's quite a nice fit for me over here. And as for the saddle, well, it's really trial and error. I know, and somehow this middle position works for me so far, so I've left it as that.
Last two questions. Last one is always for me lah. Last question from my Instagram follower is: how did you afford to buy this bike?
How did I afford to buy this bike? Well,
do you have to sell any body organs?
Thankfully, I didn't have to donate any of my organs or sell them off. Well, I always believe in. I mean, we all have savings, right? And if you don't have enough, then you probably have to wait out a bit longer and save more. But as a cyclist, to maybe you guys cyclists, if you really have a dream ride that you want, and if you ride regularly on the roads, I would say invest that money and get yourself a good ride. Then only you can make every ride a dream ride. Yeah, because if you're riding regularly, let's say 2-3 times a week, and you know, because you want to save the extra 1,000 or so, and you're compromising your ride experience, you know, every time, then I don't think it's worth it. Life is short, guys. If you want it, build it, buy it, get it, and ride it.
I don't know if that's the most sound advice, man, because some of my followers might be still in college or still studying, right? You're asking them to splurge all their money. And it's very shameful, you know, to ride a very expensive bike and you get dropped by people who are on a much cheaper bike. I mean, respect to those guys lah. Last question of the day. Are you subscribed to my channel?
Yes, I'm subscribed to Oompa Loompa Cycling. So if you have not, please do so right now.
Yeah, because like what you've advised, you say that we should all get very nice bikes. So please subscribe to my channel, man, so I can afford to buy another bike. Hey, Brian, thanks so much for coming out and appreciate it. See you guys next week.